What's going on, Vikings fans? Welcome into Vikings Now by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Siepman, and coming up on today's show, we're going to discuss if the Vikings lose to the Cardinals, it will be because of this. I'll tell you guys what that is here in a second, but before we dive into it, if you guys want the Vikes to beat the Arizona Cardinals, just give me a skull down below in the comments section. I want it to look like US Bank Stadium right before kickoff this Sunday. If you guys want the Vikes to move to 10-2 on the season, 10-2. 10-2. That just sounds so good. So if you guys want the Vikings to beat the Cardinals, give me a skull down below in the comments section. So let's talk about it. The Vikings will be in trouble if they can't take away the Cardinals' running game. Now, if you guys haven't paid attention to the Cardinals this season, they are a smash-mouth football team, and their kind of MO here is they're going to beat you on the ground, and they're going to out-physical you. And heading into this season, I would be very concerned about a matchup like this, considering I always felt like under O'Connell, we have been more of a finesse football team instead of more of a physical football team. And with a physical team like the Cardinals coming to town, might not be good news. And also this, without having Ivan Pace Jr., who is so key in the run defense for the Minnesota Vikings, I think this could be a big loss. And, he is going to miss the next 4 games against the Cardinals this weekend, Falcons, Bears, and Seahawks. So we'll still have him for, hopefully the Packers and Lions game at the second half, or for the last 2 games of the season. But there's no doubt this guy's been a wrecking ball for this Vikings defense. And if you guys just ever want to do something fun in your off time, just go look up only Ivan Pace plays from this season. It is truly remarkable just how he plays like a chicken with his head cut off. Like, he is truly, absolutely fantastic. I think him and Blake Cashman are perfect yin and yang in terms of how they complement each other. But not having him will be huge. And considering you're going up against a Cardinals offense that is just reliant on the run. Here's how their stats shake out this season in the NFL. This is the league's 6th best rushing offense. They run for over 140 yards per game. And their yards per game, 353. Pass yards per game, 23rd. But what's their bread and butter? I think the stats here do not lie whatsoever. It is their rushing attack. It's their running offense. And if you're able to, or if the Cardinals are able to get downhill, be a very physical football team, like the Vikings could be in some trouble this weekend. And, I always felt like James Conner was one of the more underrated backs in the NFL. I feel like he doesn't get the love of, obviously the top guys because maybe he doesn't have the talent level as those guys do, but he is still a very effective running back, 166 carries, 705 yards, 5 touchdowns on the year. And if they're able to get that run game going, it will open up opportunities for this guy. He's one of the better quarterbacks in the league. Kyler Murray, I'd probably say he's right around that top 10 marker, but if he's able to get the RPOs going, if he's able to get the play action deep shots downfield, this could be bad news for the Minnesota Vikings this weekend. And, as a whole, here's how the Cardinals rushing stats shake out. Just under 300 carries this year, over 1,500 yards. They have 12 touchdowns on the ground, so they're averaging about 1 per game. And then yards per carry, 5.2, and they got a long rush of 53 yards. And, so that's why, number 1, number 2 key to victory for the Vikings this weekend has to be taking away the run. But I got 5 keys to victory, and then we'll also, here in a second, show you guys how the Vikings can actually catch up to the Lions and possibly get the number 1 seed in the entire NFC. But number 1 key to victory for me, I'm going to go the 18 effect. We've talked about this countless times on the show where it's like, if Justin Jefferson is one-on-one, you throw him the football. Even 2-on-1, I'd like our chances there. But if he's getting the double, triple team looks, you allow Addison, you allowed Hockenson to get off like they did last week. So number 1 key to victory, this might be every week for our Vikes, but let the 18 effect kind of be in effect this weekend. And like I was saying, you got to dominate the trenches against this Cardinals team. They're a very physical team. They're going to try to punch you in the mouth. So if you guys win in the trenches this weekend, should be celebrating a 5th straight victory Monday. And, number 3, I'm going to go the good Sam Darnold. I think we've seen the polarizing play of him where some games he looks absolutely fantastic, and then some games, he will go and try to lose the football game single-handedly. I think against the Jaguars, that was a perfect example where him struggling almost allowed the Vikings to lose that football game where they had 42 minutes of time of possession, but it just came down to the careless turnover. So if we get the good Sam Darnold, we should be winning this Sunday. And then, I'm going to get Akers more carries, and this isn't a slight to Aaron Jones, but he is on pace to have his most touches in a season. He's a 30-year-old running back on December 2nd with a lengthy injury history. So I'm expecting over these next 3 home games to see a lot more Cam Akers. over the next couple of weeks, and I think that'll be a good thing for the Vikes. So number 4, get Akers more carries. Then number 5, I'm going to go must-win mentality, because if the Vikings want any hopes of getting that number 1 seed, it requires this game to be a must-win. Like, you can't slip up in a game where you're 3.5-point favorites at home against a good but not great Cardinals team, because if the Vikings are a great team, you handle business against a good team at home. I think this is going to be a great litmus test this weekend, but I'll toss this your guys' way. Predict the score for me. Vikings versus Cardinals this weekend. Let those score predictions down below in the comment section. My score prediction was actually 31-10, so that's kind of where I'm at, or 31-20. I think the Cardinals will be able to move the football, especially with no pace, but I think this offense will have a monster game. So coming up next, how the Vikings can catch the Detroit Lions for the number 1 seed in the NFC. Explain that here in a second, but first off, got to tell you guys about today's presenting sponsor, and that is Prize Picks. And if you guys download the app today, sign up today, and place your first $5 lineup after using promo code CONS, you guys will get $50 instantly. So what is Prize Picks? Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. Now, if you guys want to add any more juice to a Timberwolves, Wild, Vikings game, Prize Picks is the number 1 way to do so. So sign up today. Download the app. Use code CONS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Download the app today. Use code CONS. Get $50 instantly after you create your first $5 lineup. A massive shout out to Prize Picks for sponsoring today's show. Prize Picks. Run your game. All right, let's take a look here at the NFC playoff picture as it stands right now. So the number 1 seed, those big, bad Detroit Lions, are at 10-1. Then you got the Eagles, who are in contention for the number 1 seed at the 2 spot right now, as they're 9-2 on the season. Then you got the Seahawks and Falcons, just winning some poor divisions at 6-5. And then the Vikings and Packers at the 5-6 spot. And the Commanders at 7-5, with the Cardinals, Buccaneers, Rams, and Niners just on the outside in the hunt. So how do the Vikings catch the Lions? Well, it's simple. We got to look at both teams' schedules, because the Vikings need to make a game up here. And we're going to look at the Viking schedule first and then look at the Lions schedule. So Viking schedule. You got 3 straight home games. I'm going to call all of these must-wins if you want to catch the Detroit Lions. Like, you need to get to 12-2 on the season with a chance to get to 13-2 on the road in Seattle. But I think all of these are winnable. I will probably predict the Vikings win every single one of these games. But again, if they drop one, it's going to be tough, because the tiebreakers come out to divisional record, conference record, same game opponent record, and the Lions already beat the Cardinals, so that's a must-win. Falcons, that's a NFC opponent, must-win. Divisional opponent, the Bears. NFC opponent, the Seahawks. And NFC North opponent in the Packers. Like, if the Vikings want any chance here to win, they're going to have to pretty much win out. And with the Lions, I am recording this before Thanksgiving, so I'm not sure if they lost to the Chicago Bears just yet. Hopefully they do. Skull Bears on Thanksgiving. But after that, it's Week 14 versus the Packers, Bills, Bears in San Francisco, and then they got the Vikings at home. Like, this is a tough schedule for the Lions. Like, I know they're a dominant football team, but it is the NFL. It is tough to stack wins. So how does it shake out? So right now the Vikings are a game back, and the Lions have the tiebreaker. So they got to get that record even and have the tiebreakers if they want to win this division. So how does that happen? Well, easiest way is they either lose to the Packers or the Bears. And the Vikings went out, bam, you beat the Lions, you have the number 1 seed most likely in the NFC. Or they could lose to the Niners, comes down the conference record where both teams would be 5-1, and then it will come down to same game opponent record, which I actually don't know if it would be in favor of the Minnesota. Or no, it would, since they would have beaten the Niners. So they can either drop to the Niners, Packers, or Bears. But if they lose the game to the Bills, which I think is their most likely loss out of all of these, then the Vikings, even if they win out and the Lions, well, let's just say they win out besides the Bills and the Vikes, like, they would, I guess then the Vikings would have 2 losses. The Lions would have 3. So, I guess the Vikings have a little more room than I thought here. But, again, it's going to be tough to catch the Lions. Like, no doubt about it. The Vikings damn near got to be perfect down the end of the season. But it's still, if you can control your own destiny. If you win out, win all these games, and the Lions just need to drop one of these, you will have a chance to be the number 1 seed. Think about that. If you're the number 1 seed, all you need to do is win 2 home playoff games, and you are in the Super Bowl. But we'll close today's show out with this, a little Real One roll call. If you guys made it to the end, give me a skull down below in the comment section. And thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed your Thanksgiving. Also, on Twitter right there, @PatSeeps. See you guys next time. But as always, go Vikes.